One of the things I want to do in art is surprise myself and have something show up I wasn't expecting. I'm trying to build a kind of atmosphere and feeling in this right now. I know that I want something down here that's both kind of, in a way, ugly, but in a way beautiful, something both. So this is paint I'm putting on top, and it's interesting because it's a water base and it's going over wax. It starts to disappear, so you have to keep revitalizing it. But I like that it has just flecks and just bits and pieces of it. This is an image of me when I was about 6 years old. I had these images and I wanted to use them, but I didn't want them just to be portraits, so I knew I was going to use them like a pattern. In trying to remember something, you keep going over it. Maybe you look at the picture more often. So it's partly that, partly just a aesthetic repetition. I was born in 44. That's right at the end of the war. 45, the war ended in Germany. That whole area around where we were was destroyed by the Allies. Burned. So everything down here kind of relates to that firebombing. The rest of it is just what I remember or what comes up emotionally for me as I'm working. I'm interested in what makes us human and what that means. So I do a lot of reading, and my work comes out of that reading. So at some point I'll go, that's a really brilliant, I love that idea, and I wonder what I could do with it. Almost all my work, one way or another, has language in it. One of the things we do with language is we predict futures, we remember past, we share that with each other. Once I know where I'm going, once I have an idea, a concept, then it's just like getting materials together and starting to use them and trying to see how they work. Some of it's straight out painting, some of it's collage, some of it's just impressionist dots, whatever works. There's nothing sacred about the material or any of this. I deliberately try to go against traditional media. I try to work with things that I'm not used to and I'm unfamiliar with. I think you can become habituated in a particular way of thinking. The thing about habit is, once you have it, you don't know you have it. It's just the way you do what you do. It disappears. That's why it's wonderful. It's also why it's treacherous. You have a tendency to just go on. I had to learn to allow chance to be part of my process. It allows you to be much more a part of life as it is, as opposed to as you think it ought to be. At every moment, if you're paying attention, at some point you just pull back and you see something new has occurred in front of you. Now, at that point, I can make a choice to say, wow, that's kind of interesting. Maybe I can use that. You begin to have a dialogue, a conversation. really good conversations where people can actually talk to each other, not necessarily agree, but give each other facts and reasons and how it feels and all the richness that good conversation can give you. I think that's what can happen in the studio and in at least my procedure. That is what I try to do. There's something about how raggedy that is, but I'd either have to use it, as part of it, because I'm really destroying this face with the wax anyways, and I want it to be kind of almost having an effect of that past undermining me in some way. That's going to work really nice. I like that face coming through that region. Because I'm dealing with memory, this is probably me at 5 or so. And one of the things I remember from that is a clear feeling memory I have is about picking blueberries in a field behind this area that we were living in barracks. Then when my wife and I went to Hamburg and we walked around and looked at the area where I grew up, indeed, there was a field there up a hill that were blueberries. So I decided to use them as part of it. That whole area around where we were was a concentration camp, had been for a long time. So then I also decided to make sure that there was something more human. I wanted not to be so heavy, and also because my life got better eventually. So I'm kind of moving up into the space up here, which is warmer and more inviting. So it kind of works that way. It sort of follows through in that progression. When I started this series, I was just interested in the idea, the concept of memory, and even the idea of, well, how reliable is it? What do we do with it? Why do we have memories as we get older? What happened when I worked on this was I was surprised at how emotional it became. This particular work that I have here came out of just a lot of feelings, some confusion, some upset. It's just become more complex. My opinion of the art that I care about the most is not just aesthetically beautiful or incredibly well done. It pays attention to the world and asks you to pay attention to the world. I think that's significant. I think art, in one way or another, has forever been engaged in that.